Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another video for Legend of the Five Rings, the living card game. This is video 3. So if you haven't checked out this is video 4. If you haven't checked out 1 through 3, 1, we do an overview of the rules, and what the game is and kind of how it's played, so we know what we're looking at. And then videos 1 and 2, we go through the Dynasty deck, which will have the white backs like this. And those are kind of your cards that they're cards that go on your provinces, and then you play them from there, and they're either out, you can see what they are, or you can't see what they are, depending on when they're played. Kind of like a pseudo hand. Then this video for parts 4 and 5, we're going to break it up into 2. We're going to go through the conflict cards that have like the little red, brownish wood backs on them. And those are the cards you'll play during the actual conflict, whether it's military or political, the battle phase. Ways to boost up your thing. I did want to go through a couple other just reminders of things just before we hop into there. So during the Dynasty phase is the only time you play cards, your Dynasty card decks. You play them, they come out, they get replaced face down, so you don't know what's out there until you have something that flips them up or till your next turn. Then during the conflict phase is the only time you play your conflict cards. And when you play them, this is when you get to play your attachments and your event cards, which are only available in the conflict deck, as well as characters. And then you can opt to choose when you play a character to either play into the conflict that's going on, or you can place them back as home. They might have an ability that boosts them up, or you might even be like, knowing you're going to lose a conflict, be prepping for the next conflict, whether it's your attack or defense. So there's some different stuff there. Then the last thing I did want to mention up was during the regroup phase at the end, doesn't mention it right in here, I think I had is your during the regroup phase, step 3, return all rings to the unclaimed ring pool. So after both players have had their 2 conflict phases or skipped them or whatever, then you return all unclaimed rings. So during the conflict, there are the 5 rings. You're going to choose 1 each time. So the first person has to take 1 of any of the 5. The next one has a 4. The next one has 3. The last one has an option of 2. Unless for some reason more get returned back during the game. So yeah, then there are some cards that will mention unclaimed rings or claimed rings. So yeah, the later your conflict turns, the less options you'll have for them. Or if they're claimed rings, you might have more options because more things have been claimed. Just wanted to definitely point that out. So yeah, we're going to go through the 2 conflict decks. We're going to go through 3 of the clans, or 4 of the clans. We're going to go through the crab, crane, dragon, and lion. And then the next video, we'll go through all the phoenix, scorpion, unicorn, and then all of the unclaimed cards, as well as the roll cards, which we talked about a little bit in one of the other videos. So let's go ahead and hop into these. So we're going to drop down. Like the rest of the core set, we only get 1 copy of each card up until we get to some of the unclaimed cards. Functionally, though, otherwise, these are all the character cards are going to look exactly like the Dynasty cards. So once they're on the table, there's no difference of a character being a Dynasty character versus a conflict character. They're just a character card. The only difference you're going to notice is, and this is on every card, is the little bamboo on the bottom. This has to do with when you're doing your deck building, and you play your stronghold. Let me find one of our strongholds here. So if I play my Yoji no Shiro stronghold, I have 10 bamboo down there for the Lion Clan. I can add up to 10 bamboo worth of cards that are non-lion cards to my deck. And they're only going to be in conflict cards. So, yeah, it's a neat way. So, not every single card is going to be. There's going to be some that don't have them, so they're not allowed to be in other clans or colored decks. And then some can go up to 3, I think I've seen. I don't know if there's anything higher. There's nothing higher than that in the base game, but there might be some in other ones. And this can also be another good reason when you talk about the base set of buying multiple sets. So you have multiple cards. Not just so that, if I'm creating a Crab clan deck, I can have up to 3 copies of Hiruma Ambusher in my deck. I might want to be able to put 1 or 2 in my deck, but the other player also could have the option of putting up to 1 or 2 in the deck, depending on how many. Now you might be like, well, in that case, shouldn't you buy 6 core sets? You could each have up to 3. You could if you really are getting that dedicated, but then that also means every expansion that has 3 sets of cards in it, you'd have to buy 2 boxes of everything, so you have enough cards for everybody. And I think there's going to be, with the exceptions of certain little packs or certain cards here, I think that's just fringe cases where you're going to have both players wanting the same, 3 of the exact same card. When you're not playing the same clan. And if you are playing the same clans and you're trying to do that, then it's basically you're buying a set for yourself and a set for somebody else, that's entirely up to you. Alright, so here we have, let's go ahead and hop into these. We have Hiruma Ambusher. So he's a Bushi and a Scout. Reaction: after his character enters play as a defender, choose a character. That character's abilities cannot be triggered during this conflict. Ooh, so that's fun. So this is a guy you get dropping during your defending, one of your 2 defending phases, to stop somebody else's abilities. Stoic Gunzo. Bushi. Action: declare, or during a conflict, sacrifice a friendly character. His character gets +3 military till the end of the conflict. We are the wall. Yeah, if you have a guy that's at 0 fate, he's going to probably go away anyhow, or maybe they're not... they had an come into play ability, like even like this guy right here, right? He drops in, he has an in-play ability when he comes in, and then he doesn't have it. It might be worth maybe sacrificing him to game 3. Very possible. Alright, then we have an attachment. So this will be the first attachment we've seen, because they weren't in the other videos. So at the top, it's going to say if it has plus military or plus political might. These, unlike characters, you don't have to pay extra fate to keep them out. You pay 1, it goes on wherever it's going to go. They'll usually always have this little sword icon on the bottom there, too. So this is Reprieve, Condition, Interrupt. When an attached character would leave play, discard this attachment instead. There's one more thing that must be done. So that's cool. So if you're going to lose a guy, you can sacrifice this instead. We have Watch Commander, who's a follower. Attached to a character you control, limit 1 per character. Reaction: after an opponent plays a card during a conflict in which the attached character is participating, that player loses 1 honor. So after an opponent plays a card during a conflict in which the attached character is participating, that player loses an honor. Unlimited. Oh, so that's kind of neat. So every time your opponent wants to play something else, they're going to keep losing honor. So then they have to debate whether it's worth playing that card or losing honor. Very neat. Then we get a weapon. We have the Jade Kensubo. This gives you 3 military might. Jade weapon. Keywords: attached to a character you control. Restricted. Restricted means you can only have up to 2 restricted cards. Now, they can be 2 Jade Kasubos, or it could be a Jade Kasubo and any other card that's restricted. Just only 2 copies. Action: while a character is participating in a conflict, bow this attachment. Choose a participating character with a lower military skill than an attached character. Return all fate on that character to its owner's pool. Ooh, cool. So it already boosts him up 3, so it's going to give a guy a pretty good military might. Basically, you're bashing some other guy with this, and then now they're down to no fate. So end of the round, they're going to go away unless they can somehow add fate. We have an event. Events are one-time play effects. They come in, they do something generally, and then they generally come in and then they leave. So we have Levy here. Action: choose an opponent. That player must select 1. Give you 1 fate or honor. Every clan must aid in the defense of the Rokugan. Yeah, so this is pretty neat. There's a lot of events that cost 0. You know, that, like, this one's not too bad for a 0, right? Because there's some that seem pretty powerful, and they're like, oh, why does it have no fate cost? Because it usually has very specific requirements, and we'll see that on some of his cards. Also, it's neat though is that if the crab wants to use this, it's pretty neat and easy. But if someone else, it costs 3 bamboo. So it doesn't mean they can't use it. It's just that takes up one of their extra slots. And those 10 or whatever stronghold, because some might have more or less, them extra outer clan cards they add into their deck take up other cards in their deck. So you might be like, oh, I could have 10 other cards from another set in there. Yes, but that also cuts into your conflict deck only. So it's going to make your conflict deck not tie into your other stuff maybe as nicely, because clan cards tend to work with each other. We have Rebuild. Action. Shuffle one of your unbroken provinces back into your dynasty deck. Choose a holding in your dynasty discard pile. Put that holding into play. Put that holding into play in that province. Oh, okay. There's misunderstandings. So what it just means is if you have an unbroken province, you can take a card off there, whether it's a character, another holding, or whatever, or a face down card, and if you don't know what it is, it's going to let you basically throw a holding onto a card, which will boost it up and give it some extra stats, which is really good if you're defending. Alright, then we have philosophy cards. It's still an event, but philosophies are kind of fun. They have the cool artwork. Way of the Crab. So we get one of these for each clan. Sacrifice a friendly crab character. Choose an opponent. That player must sacrifice a character, max 1 per round. Courage, duty, sacrifice. Now you notice these, Way of the Crab, specifically for a crab character, have no bamboo, so you can't add this into another deck. Yeah, it's kind of neat. So a crab has a way of sacrificing your own character to force a character to sacrifice one of theirs. We have the Melting Does Not Fall, a technique. Action. Choose a character. Until the end of the phase, that character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution while defending. Neat. So they can defend, and then now they're ready to attack or defend in the next conflict. Just helps them prep for the next turn. That is our crab cards. So not a ton, but a decent amount. And then like as we buy more expansions, you'll get more and more conflict cards to choose from. Alright. And then we have our cranes. Steward of Law. Courtier and Scholar. While this character is participating in a conflict, characters cannot become dishonored. There's no better armor than the etiquettes of the Hateno no Kami. So that's neat. Again, it helps your opponent as well, but sometimes you have to just focus on your strategies versus what your opponent might do. Political Rival. Another Courtier, Covert. When this character attacks, choose one character without Covert. That character cannot be declared as a defender. So that can be very powerful to stop someone so they can't pick a specific character to defend with. And this character gets +3 political while defending. So it goes up to 6. So if it's attacking, it's only at 3. But if it's defending, all of a sudden it's at 6. It's a pretty decent card. We have an attachment. Above question. Condition. Attached character cannot be chosen as a target of an opponent's event. So you're noticing right now, the crane's doing a lot of stuff in here to prevent you from your opponent from doing or targeting you with stuff. The crab had a lot of stuff about defending and getting better defenders. This is just keeping you from being targeted by cards. Which is great. You limit what they can do on their turn, and they're stuck with what they've played. Instead of being like, oh, I can play a weak character and then boost it up as a sneaky technique. Excuse me, Samurai-san, but you must be mistaken. I could not have possibly been her. Duelist Training. Technique. Attack character gains action. While this character is participating in a conflict, you choose a participating character controlled by your opponent. Challenge that character to a military duel. Instead of giving honor for this duel's bid, a player must choose and discard the required number of cards from their hand. Bow of the Loser duels. So this is neat. Normally during a duel, you bid a certain amount, and then whoever wins the bid gains some of the extra honor. But then, like, whatever the effect happens to whoever wins. But here instead, now you're playing with cards in your hand. So yeah, it's going to be a kind of a tricky thing to do, because if you have a bunch of cards, you have enough you're willing to sacrifice to get rid of one of your opponent's cards, or can you bluff them enough that they get rid of some of theirs? But again, every card you get rid of from your hand, which is only your conflict cards, is less stuff you have to play during your next conflict. So during the first conflict, it's going to be really hard to decide this. You play this during the last one, you might be more willing to toss stuff away. We have Height of Fashion, +4 political condition. This attachment cannot be played during a conflict. When do you play this if you can't play it during a conflict? The tides of fashion ebb and flow. Stay ahead of them. They sink beneath the waves of obscurity. Interesting. Alright, so we had to look this up. I gotta figure this one out. So conflict phase. There's a standard action window during each player may use action abilities after the phase begins, before the first conflict opportunity. During this window, action support alternate between players until both players have completed pass. After each conflict resolves, player returns to this action window before the next conflict may be initiated. So before you declare your attackers, or in your attacker phase, you have the option to play some extra cards, and this is so that way basically you're prepping up your field ahead of time, and then now you're going to declare attackers, so it just doesn't come out as a surprise to someone. Yeah, so very interesting. And it's also noted here during the dynasty phase, it does mention playing cards from your provinces. But people also said you can also play your event cards from your hand. You're just not allowed to play your characters or your attachments during that time. But you could play an event if it works. Like obviously it says during the conflict phase it wouldn't work. So that's kind of cool. I didn't quite catch that in there, because during the actual time when they're talking about the conflict phase, they just jump into like, oh, then declare attackers and go. So yeah, you have a small window before each attacker phase. So each player, when they get to choose their attacker phase, you get an option, then you go back and forth. Hey, do you want to set something up? Okay, no, I'm ready to attack. Good. So I think that's kind of cool. So that way your opponent knows you have a +4 on there before their attacker or your defender phase, so they know if they want to try and, oh, he just played a 4 political, I might not defend this or attack him this turn. Cool. Alright, so we have the perfect gift. Action, reveal the top 4 cards of each player's conflict deck. Choose one revealed card owned by each player and add it to its owner's hand and shuffle. He had refused twice, but could not bring himself to refuse a third time. Choose one revealed card. So this is a great way for you to get your own card, but you're also getting your opponent's, giving your opponent card, but at least you can kind of dictate what they will have. Plus, if they're doing anything to stack their deck, they have something that lets them put cards, or they look their deck, it's going to reshuffle their deck. Interesting. Voice of Honor, interrupt. When the effects of an event would initiate, if you control more honored characters than your opponent, cancel those effects. Cool. You get honored characters, you get to do stuff. We have the philosophy for the Way of the Crane. Choose a crane character you control, honor that character. As a reminder, what honoring does, it says add this character's glory to its military or political skill, and enforce interrupt when this character leaves play, you gain an honor. Yeah, so I helped you. And then your glory, of course, is your number over here. So this one would give you 0, that would give you 0. So those two wouldn't help as much, but it'll help with some of the better characters. Admit defeat. Action. Choose a character that is defending alone and bow that character. It is not a question of defeating one's opponents, but defeating them in a manner that they know they have been beaten. And our last crane is we have Noble Sacrifice. This guy's guarding this bridge by himself. Sacrifice a friendly honored character. Choose a dishonored character. Discard that character. Nice. So basically, if you're like, I'm an honored guy, I'm going to brave you, and they're like, well, we're going to be dishonorable and attack you with an army, you can get rid of one of their guys. That's fun. Alright, for our Green Dragon Clan, we have a Tattooed Wanderer. Monk and Tattooed. You may play this character as an attachment with the attached character gains covert. So that's neat. You can basically, with this guy, you can give any of your characters covert. It is said that Dragon, Shujinja, and Courtiers are warriors. Their weapons are the monks, and their monks are inexplicable. So nice. Yeah, you basically use your guy as a item. Then we have a unique character. We have Togashi Kazu, a monk and tattooed as well. You may play this character as an attachment to text action. During a conflict with an attached character participating, choose another participating character, move one fate from that character to the attached character. A conflict which attacked another participating character space, so you can steal somebody else's fate. Most of the time, you probably want to steal your opponent's fate, make your guy stay alive longer. But this can be a great way, so you either drop this character as a 3-cost character if you need to, or attach him to something to help keep your guy alive a little bit longer. We have a weapon. Ancestral Daisho. Daisho? So Ancestral means when a attached card leaves play, return it to your hand. So this is keep getting to reuse these. And restricted, no, 2 restricted attachments per character. There's no other special things, but the fact that it keeps coming back is pretty cool. Daimyo's Favor. Condition. Attached to a character you control. Action. Bow this attachment. Reduce the cost of the next attachment you play in this character by this phase by 1. So it's gonna let you play your attachments easier. So it does say the next attachment you play, and then these say you may play this character as an attachment, so I imagine it would reduce these guys as well. So pretty fun. We have Kitsuki's Method. It's an ancestral as well and restricted. So this means a technique that you can use. Every detail, no matter how small, carries its own implications of the truth. Our philosophy in this one, instead of being an event, is an attachment to the Way of the Dragon. Attached to a character you control, limit 1 per character. You may trigger each of the attached characters' triggered abilities an additional time each round or specified period. So that's pretty cool. You get to do stuff multiple times. Our events is we have Let Go, Action, choose an attachment and discard it. The material world is but a distraction. So you could force your opponent to drop something, which could help you out, but you could also drop something of your own to discard it. I don't know why you would. Because it doesn't go back, unless it's the ancestral one, you want it to go back to your hand, which can go back to your hand when the character gets defeated anyhow. The only reason there would be the ancestral, get it back quicker so you can reattach it to somebody else and reprioritize it. Otherwise, any other attachment is just going to go to your discard pile. You may as well wait until the character gets defeated. Mantra of Fate is a Kiho and Fire. And Kiho is more or less like magic. Reaction. After an opponent declares a fire conflict, choose a monk character or a character with a monk attachment. Place 1 fate on that character and draw cards. Basically just boosting them up. Tranquility. During a conflict, until the end of the conflict, characters in your opponent's home cannot trigger abilities. You have entered a state in which nothing can harm you. Yeah, that's actually a really powerful ability to stop your opponent from doing stuff at their home. Indomitable Will. Reaction. After you win a conflict in which you control only a single participating character, that character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution. Get some prep for the next one. And our last dragon is Miramoto's Fury. Action. During a conflict, choose an attacking character with glory X or lower, bow that character. X is equal to the number of unrevealed provinces you control. So yeah, this is interesting. So like early in the game, play this right off the bat, it's going to be super strong because you have potentially 3 or 4 unrevealed provinces. And then as the game goes on, this is just going to become kind of a waste, because eventually X will be 0, because eventually all 4 will get revealed at some point. And then, yeah, it won't be doing you any good. But even still, even at 0, it's not a useless card, because X is equal to the number of unrevealed. Well, X or lower, there's a lot of characters that have 0. So it's never like a completely junk card, it's just not as strong. Alright, for our last clan on this video, we're going to look at our lion, our yellow clan. Yellow-orange. Vengeful Oathkeeper, who's a Bushi reaction. After you lose a military conflict, put this character into play from your hand. Nice. So if you lose, you can have him prep for the next one. A samurai has said he will perform an action. It is good as done. Akago's leadership. Master of the Spear, another Bushi action. When those characters are attacking, your opponent must choose a participating character he or she controls and move that character home. Ooh. Gonna throw them back. For an attachment, we have Guidance of the Ancestors. Condition says, when it plays attachment from your conflict discard pile. So, just, yeah, it's kind of fun. You pull out your discard pile to play this, get you a 1/1. Not a lot, but a 1 extra boost might be enough to either win the conflict or give you enough to break a province. This attachment, oh, blessed ancestors, hear my prayers. May the strength of your honor guide my steps and lead me to righteousness. We have an Honored Blade. Restricted and reaction. The attacked character wins a conflict, gain 1 honor. Nice. Sashimono, item and banner attached to a Bushi character, so a little bit limited. Attacked character is not Bowser's own conflict or military conflicts. Just giving that anybody that ability, which is really fun. I love when they, like, this character has an ability. Oh, that's cool. And then they make a card that lets anybody else have that ability. In event, we have Ready for Battle. Reaction. After an opponent's card effect or a ring effect Bowser character control, ready that character. We are prepared to pay any price. Stand your ground. Interrupt when an honored character you would control would leave play, instead discard that character's status token. Nice, so you can get rid of your honor to keep them in play. Way of the Lion, the philosophy. During a conflict, choose a lion character. Double that character's base military skill to the end of the conflict. War is the most noble pursuit of a samurai. It gives him a purpose and brings honor to his ancestors. That could be very powerful. For greater glory, reaction. After you break a province during a military conflict, place 1 fate on each participating Bushi character you control. Max 1 per conflict. Our name should never be forgotten. So if you break a province, you keep all your characters on another turn. That's powerful. And then the last card we have for the video here is Strength in Numbers. Action. While you are in the attacking player, choose a defending character with glory X or lower. Move that character home. X is equal to the number of attacking characters. So the more guys you attack with, the bigger guy you can send back and not have to worry about it, which is very fun. Alright, so that's what we have for this video. Come back for the last video for the core set. We'll look at the last 3 clans plus the unclanned cards. See you guys there. Bye.